Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast. Barry John Corr, thanks very much for joining us in the Scottish Property Podcast. Barry John, Barry, BJ, we're just going to call you Barry for the sake of this podcast, right? You're saying Leanne calls you Barry John when you're in trouble, so shout out
not
to
too
Leanne.
often, but
I was looking forward to saying BJ quite a lot.
Right, it's great to see you because you've been kicking about the property scene for a while. I've followed you for a good number of years. You've also come on and helped us out with, I think we did like an online
Podcast
call
COVID,
with you during COVID. You came on, talked to that. You're also going to be doing a presentation for us at the networking event, so brilliant. Just recently, actually, we caught up after not seeing each other for a while at one of your buy-to-lets, and we got a good chat going there. And I was like, wow, you've done a lot in a short space of time. So we're going to get into all that sort of stuff, you know, building up a significant size portfolio. And, you know, by all accounts, using not a lot of your own money or none of your own money. So that's going to be interesting for people. But take us back to, obviously, childhood. We always like to go in a wee bit background of our guests. Where did you grow up? And you've also got another dynamic to add to the story, which was a professional footballing career. So yeah, talk us through growing up.
yeah, so Glasgow boy, born and bred. Growing up, all I ever wanted to do is be a goalkeeper. I know not too many people want to do that. They want to be a footballer or whatever, but that was my kind of, in the early years, wanting to be a goalkeeper. Fortunately, we managed to do that. In the professional game, not for too long. I wasn't anything, certainly wasn't any kind of big player, far from it. And played a couple of years in the Premier League in Scotland, dropped out into the Championship for a few years, started to really dislike the whole industry.
See the football, what was it that kind of sparked your interest in football? Was it like your dad or was it anybody in your family who was kind of spurring you on it at an early age?
Back in the day growing up, you were either into football, boxing, that was it. Whereas nowadays, kids are into pretty much everything.
So that's interesting. I was thinking about that on the way down actually. And you know, back when we were growing up, you know, I'm presuming you're about similar age as me. You grew up back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Aye. So like it was like pretty much every kid's dream to be a footballer, wasn't it?
Especially in Glasgow, I'm assuming. Like.
Yeah. So like now I was thinking, now it's like you ask kids what they want to be. It's like a YouTuber, isn't it? And a vlogger and stuff like that. So,
Back then, obviously, we never had that.
yeah.
You're out every day from special holidays, summer holidays, you're out 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. with a ball, just kicking it about. You don't see that anymore.
Aye, was it ash pitches back then as well?
It was ash pitches, grew up ash pitches, training, gym hall floors, wooden floors, jumping about like a maniac. You don't think anything of it.
So you obviously put a lot of, you sacrificed in an early age, you know, to achieve that status of getting to that level. Yeah, so what, as a kind of teenager, what are your memories of, like, you know, parents, you know, driving you to football training, how often a week, you know, that sort of thing?
Yeah, obviously parents were sacrificed a lot as well. You know, they're running us about 3 nights a week it was at the time in the academies, all over the city, all over the country, going to matches at the weekends. So there's a lot of sacrifices involved there, especially when you come to like you're 16, 17, all your friends are starting to go out and about and go to different, I think they call it a gaff these days, but back then it was an empty. You have to miss out on that. Or if you did go, you'd be a bottle of water and leave early, getting slagged for it, what you're doing. But
did you feel that sacrifice helped you in business? Like have that mindset early that, that if you want something bad enough, you have to fucking pay the price. If the price is not going to your pals or not.
Yeah, 100%, mate. You've got that kind of the same sort of skills there, discipline. Yeah. You're very, very disciplined from a young age, and I still have that to this day.
So what was the highlight of the football career then? Signing for Celtic or?
Signing was a big thing, yeah, but obviously getting to play one game.
You got one main
match.
Team.
Yeah, see, honestly, mate, for a number of years, MD would talk about it, I'd get embarrassed because it's only one game.
Yeah.
One game, you must be shit.
But how many people actually get there?
Yeah, that's the thing. As you get older and you kind of think about it a bit more, then you think, you know, that was. I sit and watching the telly now. You know, I've actually played for them.
Who was
the millions of kids that wanted to? I'm still the youngest goalkeeper to ever do that.
What was your memories of that game? Who was it against? Who was the manager at the time?
for Celtic.
Aye.
It was Dr. Joe Venglos.
Right, okay.
He came in for a season. And listen, I get that time at the rules where you had to play like, or in the squad, like 2 under 21 boys. That was the rules.
Right.
So most clubs would put a young goalkeeper, because how often does a goalkeeper get injured and have to become on? So fortunately, yeah, I got a rub of the green that night. And
did you start the game?
no, I came on.
Aye.
I came on. Jonathan Gould was playing. He was great help to me. Even to this day, I'm still in contact with him. So he came off injured, unfortunately for him, and I came on and I loved it.
Brilliant. I see, because sometimes you post the picture on your social media as well, like, you know, that, I mean, that must have been some buzz. I mean, 60,000, what's Celtic Park?
No, it was at Tynecastle.
Oh, is it?
Which everybody knows, Tynecastle, it's the crowd are right on top of you, it's hostile. It was really at a time where Hearts were decent. They were really going for it as well. At that time, it was April, and Celtic and Rangers are both neck and neck for the title. So it was a crucial game, live on Sky, broadcast to the whole world. And you've got some boy just turned 18 years old coming on.
Did you fuck up?
I didn't, no, I didn't. Luckily, we had Henrik Larsson, Mark Viduka to bail you out anyway.
Wow. Even being in the same team as Henrik Larsson, I mean, that, do you know what I mean? Being in the dressing room with guys like that.
You watch everything they do. Everything they do. Paul Lambert's another one, he just came back from winning the Champions League with Dortmund. You watch everything they do, listen to them, you're just like a sponge. Even off the field, how they behave, how they train, how they work. It was a great experience, but possibly at the time, just turned 18, I might not have appreciated it. Now, as you older, you look back and you think, wow, that was all right.
Aye, no, brilliant. And how did that whole footballing career kind of pan out then in the end? It's like when did you kind of exit?
I broke my back in 2 places playing football, and I was still at Celtic at the time. Those 2 years out pretty much killed my chances, because by the time I became fit again to compete, David Marshall, young goalkeeper, had exploded onto the scene, performed at the Nou Camp incredibly well, and Martin Neal pretty much said that you can't have 2 young goalkeepers. You can't have I was now 20. You can't have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old as the 2 goalkeepers at the club, so you're going to have to move on, which was difficult, because when you've broke your back in 2 places, to come back from that, I was told, forget playing football.
Was that an injury in the game or at training? Or?
Yeah, I was on loan at the time with Queen's Park.
Oh, wow.
And I broke it that night. 2 years out, I mean, a lot of people didn't believe I was actually injured. I was getting questioned about, is it maybe a mental issue where you've had all these scans, nothing's showing up.
All right.
Coaches would start to ignore you in the building as well, because they think you're at it. And I'm like, why would you be at it? I was on the verge of the first team at Celtic Football Club here.
Aye.
Why would I want to be at it? But fortunately, one day I went for another scan, and a different radiologist checked it out, and he picked up the problem. He said, there's the issue right there. Why is nobody else picked up on this? Which, when you think back, you could have went to town with the club for like doing all that to me, missing out. So that took about 10 months to actually diagnose the problem.
Right.
And I was told at the time, the only way to correct this is surgery now. You tried everything else, but we need to tell you the risks involved here. You might not walk when you wake up. Forget playing football again. That's probably...
And that's quite a common story, isn't it? Like, you hear amongst, professional sports people, they get that injury, and then it's just
that must be hard to deal with at a young age. Like, almost getting to the peak. Here we go. I'm away to start. This is going to take off, and then
it was difficult. But it comes back to that discipline again. Yeah. Everybody thought, just not training for 2 years, you're going to blow up physically. You're going to be well at the picture here now. And I was so strict with my diet. Honestly, I lost a lot of weight bizarrely. And because I was just so strict, people actually thought, are you feeling all right? You've lost so much weight. But I knew I wasn't training. So I had to be so disciplined with my diet. I couldn't train. So you had to kind of keep the weight off by being really tight on your diet.
So did you manage to bounce back into another club and do all right? Or did you go into a kind of slippery downward spiral? Or
No, I came back from that. And then it was the summer after Celtic had just lost the UEFA Cup final against Porto. That summer, I came back. Martin Neal got me to go in pre-season with the first team, just because he saw how hard I had worked. But he did tell me that I'm not going to be involved. They've got the goalkeepers' positions filled now. So I moved on. I went to Motherwell for 2 seasons in the Premier League. I should have played a lot more. I still believe that to this day. But after the 2 seasons there full time, I then moved into Championship level.
Yeah.
Went part time, and it's the best thing I ever did. I loved it. I loved it playing the Championship for a couple of seasons. I loved it initially, but then
because the pressure was off, like
no, I just enjoyed the environment I was in. You know, I was playing every Saturday.
Yeah,
you're training during
what you love doing.
Training during the week. A great bunch of guys at the team at Stranraer at the time it was. All Glasgow-based boys, so we're travelling down on the bus together, travelling back up, but it was great fun.
Not as much pressure maybe as well, or because obviously it comes.
It was because I had my first kid at the time, so and football was all I did at that time. So there was still pressure to do well, to get your win bonuses, potentially move back up, because that was still maybe in the back of my mind to move back into the full-time environment. But as you get older, you realise how shit the football industry is in Scotland.
Did you get a kind of did you have a plan B when you were going through that stages of trying to learn?
At that age, no.
No, you didn't go get a trade, you didn't go and get a college or that, you just thought, fuck, it's football.
At that age, when I went part-time, I started off doing tiling.
Right.
Doing a bit of tiling, and money I make from tiling, that you can't just do tiling, right? It ends up before you know it. You turn up to do a job, and you can't do it because the plumber hasn't done his bit the day before. Similar to what we were talking before with the trades guys, they can frustrate you. So before you know it, you're doing everything in the bathroom, same in the kitchen. Before you know it, you've got a kitchen bathroom business going now. And then you start kind of just growing from there.
Aye, so a lot of people obviously think, professional footballer, like mega money and all the rest of it. But obviously, you were ended up playing part-time and all the rest of it, so you had to bring in the money somehow.
Yeah.
You know, what was obviously Leanne, your other half, shout out to Leanne, who's big into property as well. So, you guys have been together since very early ages, right?
Yeah, we got together when I was 24 years. It was our anniversary. We were in Dubai the other day.
Nice.
So 24 years together.
So when you were what age? Putting you under the pressure here on the spot.
I was, what was I then? I was 19.
19, right,
there.
okay. So she's been kind of with you since she's been seeing you through the high times, the low times.
Yeah.
And so how was she working at the time? You had one child at that point?
We had Dylan. I was at the time, 23 when first was born.
Aye.
And then the other one, he arrived 2 years later. So
was that your initial spark in property then? Was that your initial venture into the kind of property world? And obviously...
Yeah, we had to do something because we knew the football, that dream of being a big top player, that ship had sailed.
Okay.
So we started to do, it's like you do a flip and you earn 13 grand from it, or you make 13 grand profit and you think, this is amazing, 13 grand. But when you're that age, you're young, first thing you do, you go into cruise, you buy Timberland boots, T-shirts, Ralph Lauren shirts. Before you know it, it's... can write down you bought a new car,
going to be holiday, there we go,
holidays. Yeah. So that 13 grand, that just goes.
And you like your luxuries, as I can see from that big Range Rover parked outside as well. So
you like nice things, you reward yourself. You work hard for them. So
right, so starting out with the tiling, and then what did that move on to then?
Moved on to, from the tiling, we went into, it just grew naturally into doing full bathrooms, full kitchens. Before you know it, you're doing full renovations, just because I'm probably the most disciplined guy you'll meet when it comes to business and doing things properly. When it comes to doing things properly, then I'm on it right away. I'm the one dealing with the customers. Like some guys who might be great at doing their trade, but their people skills, their communication skills, they're pretty shit, let's be honest. So I'm the one that they're dealing with. I'm dealing with the trades. I'm the guy in the middle, dealing with the customers, and that's kind of a natural progression that we took from there.
So you started earning a bit of good money doing the bathrooms and stuff like that?
We did all right. We did okay. But if I was to do that, I'd still be on the tools until the day I drop, probably. Because we've never had any sort of pensions, Leanne and I. So we're thinking longer term and into the future. How's this going to work? We're building a family. We had to do something else.
So what years were you sort of really focused on? I mean, the bathrooms obviously taken up, that became a full-time, business.
Yeah.
What sort of in terms of your time span there, what sort of years were you full involved in that?
Full involved in that from when I first started going part-time at football. I started doing the tiling in the bathrooms, the kitchens, and I had that.
What was that, late 2000s or something like that? Or?
Earlier than that, it's probably about 06 maybe.
All right,
I first started doing that. 05 maybe, because I went part-time. And listen, I met a lot of good people doing that, and a lot of people are really good to me as well. You know, like local guys, local builders, they helped me out by giving me jobs. They didn't have to. I mean, a lot of people at that time looked at me as if, what the hell does he know? He's a footballer. As if footballers don't have a brain, right? That used to be the conception of footballers. They're all...
And even harder when you're an ex-Celtic player as well, because half of Glasgow know what to speak to you to give you any work.
Honestly, see, just on that, I still get that to this day, and it annoys the life out of me. I'm not into all the nonsense that comes with both clubs. I've played one match.
You were saying this, I don't know if you want to share this, but about tenants and stuff like that, and somebody researched you and found out that you used to play for Celtic, and then
it was crazy. This was actually just recently. We bought a portfolio, and obviously by a portfolio, most of it's tenanted. One of the tenants did a bit of digging, who's a new landlord, my name, because that name, Barry John Corr, it's quite a unique, you know, and even though like, I only played one match, people still remember, that boy used to play for Celtic, didn't he? And this guy, he was just caught in the dark ages, he really is. Nice to my face, but then the next day, he just kind of sent a big letter that I don't know who wrote it for him, but they wrote it, and it was like really shocking, the wording in it. I could have took that a lot further. But he's obviously got issues with the fact that I have played for Celtic. You know what? Who cares? 25 years ago I played one match. That's just the mentality of some folk from where we come from.
Just weird.
It runs deep in Glasgow, doesn't it? I don't really fucking understand it.
It is easy to go down rabbit holes in this podcast, but again, I put a post up about, obviously I've seen from Rangers fans and stuff like that, you know, like not supporting Scotland during the Euros and supporting England and all the rest of it, and like it just sparked all these, I got all these private messages and all that telling me like the history and that, and why they don't support Scotland.
Who gives a fuck?
I'm like, what the fuck, man?
That's what you've got to fucking worry yourself out. Your fucking mind's in the wrong things.
Mental. Honestly, it's just, that's the mentality. It shows where they are in their life and their mentality. You know, it's just bizarre. I hate all the nonsense in Glasgow that comes with that. I really do.
Okay, so when did you know, obviously you're doing the bathrooms, the properties. Are you buying any properties at this point? Or are you...
The odd flip, that was all. Aye, that was it.
But you're not really seeing it as a kind of, you know, you hadn't kind of educated yourself, or you didn't know the strategies and stuff at that point. So when did that kind of come about, that you started learning?
I thought the only thing you can do in property is buy a house, do it up, sell it on, make a profit. I didn't realise at that time there's so much more to it.
Was there anything that the penny dropped, like anything you saw online or a book or something like that? Or?
At that time, social media was really just starting, and you're seeing things. You go to different events, you see other things that are going on, and how you can make money with actually, like, I wouldn't call it passive, because nothing really passive.
Not passive.
Nah, but I like the idea of growing a portfolio. I could understand the fact that you're buying a property, if you're going to be holding it long term, it's obviously going to increase in the right areas. You know, location's a massive thing when you're buying, massive. I do see people buying portfolios, and it's like dotted all over the country. You know, the small towns and villages, it doesn't appeal to me. It really doesn't. I only buy in like the big cities, like Glasgow mainly, round about. I know the growth that I'm getting from there. I know the cash flow I'm getting from there.
Just on that then, what would your advice be for people, you know, that are considering building a buy-to-let portfolio? Then you're saying about you don't like, you know, are you talking about like little villages and stuff like that? Yeah. You don't see the value in that in terms of building a good buy-to-let portfolio?
I know some people buy purely for cash flow, and in these small towns and villages up and down the country, yeah, you might get decent cash flow. Decent cash flow to one person is different from decent cash flow to the next.
We need to name a town now. We need to give a specific example.
Then people from that town will hate us.
I know, that's the thing. I used to make that mistake because I used to...
I see, I've done that, and I'm quite bad at generalising things. And I remember I bought my mum and dad's old house when they divorced, and they bought something in the fucking countryside. And like, it's not even a village. There's 7 cottages around it. And it's like a first house that was ever owned in the family. I'm going to buy it. And I remember buying it thinking, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you're buying your emotion here and not with the numbers. Who's going to rent this place? And I bought it 8 or 9 years ago. And I was arguing with somebody about buying shite stock and buying locations. And they were like, oh, but that one you bought in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, aye. I think I bought it for 142 grand. The mortgage at the time was a brilliant. It was like £500 a month cash flow. Didn't put the rent up in 7 years. Tenant moved out about a year and a half ago. It went up another £500 a month. This is fucking cash flow, £1,000 a month. This is brilliant. And then when I sold that, then a wee mini flip on it and flipped it on. So for 142 grand in 8 years to 305 grand. And I was like, fuck. So I'm the same as you. I'm like, no, stick to what you think. But then when something like that happens to me, I'm like, am I being fucking dog-headed and thinking I should be looking at wee things like that and going, no, maybe I should go look at it.
But who was your end market for that? Because we're talking about like 20, 30 grand shiters away. Like, 30 below 50. So who bought that 300 grand house? It's a family to live in. Do you know what I mean? So it's different. We're talking about rental properties, that you can pick up for 50 grand and all that.
For me, those type of properties, those values, I wouldn't go near them now.
Because why? Is it because they don't get the capital growth? Are they good quality tenants or
both? Sure, you might be buying low, so you've got less money to put in, right? I get that. That's why some people start off there. And listen, I bought a couple way back at the beginning at that value. When I look back at them now, I wouldn't go near them with a barge pole.
Where was that?
I wouldn't. We've got one in Beath.
Right.
Another one, Lark Hall.
You just wouldn't go there now?
Yeah, I wouldn't go near them.
Do you think it's a lending? Because honestly, I'm exactly the same as you. You start off with buying those shitty ones. I just sold one yesterday. I think the last shitty one I've got that I want to sell. And I think it's a lending. Because we've been forced into limited company lending, and property investors have. Most lenders won't touch anything below 75. A lot of them, you'll struggle. You'll only find a couple of lenders. So if you're getting flats at that lower end, your limited mortgage pool means that if it's only cash investors that aren't going to pay you 50 grand, they're going to say, well, I'm paying cash, I'll pay you 40 grand. And then all of a sudden it starts spiraling down the way and you didn't get any appreciation. Or that was the way I was looking at it recently, by I just avoid these anything below 75.
I get why people do it, the low entry level financially, but to keep them in your portfolio long term, they're no ideal. I've still got them.
Give you headaches?
I've still got them, yeah. The calibre of tenants is different. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to anyone, but they're just different, let's put it that way. They'll take the piss a little bit. They know their rights inside out. Some of them don't actually know their rights, but they'll push the boundaries and
you need to look at the fundamentals of what's driving the demand for your rentals, right? So it's people moving to the area usually for employment, for work and all that. Do you know what I mean? If there's good employers in the area, strong demands, then you're going to get good tenants. If you're investing in small towns where there's not really a lot happening, then you're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel a wee bit, aren't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the people that move into these type of properties in the small towns and villages, they're born and bred there. Their families are there. Kids are maybe at school there. They don't want to move away.
Not much ambition, possibly.
But you're not getting that capital growth.
Yeah.
Most of my portfolio, I'd say about 97%, is Glasgow. It's close to the city centre, close to the motorways, the airports, loads of schools.
And the reason you're not getting the capital growth is because your only exit for that market really is another buy-to-let landlord, another investor. There's
Possibly, yeah.
There's no that kind of like you talked about.
Yeah.
You put that house and then you've got families, first-time buyers, all the rest of it. So that is something definitely to think about. It's something that I talk about a lot to a lot of our investor landlords as well, because we've got clients that are growing their portfolio and sometimes I get sent stuff, right? It comes from sources and there's so many sources out there. Some do a great job, some do a shit job like every other industry. But there is a lot of shite out there. And it's like people come off the back of these courses and they're so desperate to get a few deals or to get their 2-3 grand sourcing fee. They're not thinking long term what is in the best interest for that investor. They're just wanting a quick 3k in their pocket.
And it gets brushed up, though, doesn't it? It gets fucking put a nice little ribbon on it that look how good this is, and they never actually talk about the downsides. It's like, oh, that's amazing, look at this one. Got your money back out.
A lot of folk come off courses and think sourcing's the best way to start. I understand some logic behind it. The sourcing for me has never been a thing. No. I just don't like it. I sourced one years ago. I hated the whole process. Right. Hated it to the point.
Why is that?
See the amount of time and effort, if you're doing it properly, you're doing the same time and effort as if you're just going to buy it for yourself. And then you've got to find an investor to buy it from you. Why not just find an investor to pay for it and you keep it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've focused solely on, over the years, finding a deal and raising the funds for it.
Let's take a quick break, guys, from today's show to talk about selling your property with Prime Property Auctions. Now, myself and Stephen have both used John and Lewis from Prime in the past, and we can personally vouch for their service. They sell vacant and tenanted property, and you get to control the minimum reserve price so that you're not selling your property for peanuts. They pay for all the stuff like photos, videos, and all the marketing stuff up front, so you're not paying anything from the start, and it's a no sale, no fee. So if you want to check out Prime Property Auctions, then get across to the link on the show notes and speak to the guys.
And that's why
I struggle with that a wee bit as well. Any deals that I've sourced on, that's how I started building my letting agency. I started sourcing for people that were remote investors. But I would never ever have found a property for somebody that I wouldn't have bought myself. Looking back on it, I wish I'd been more active and been like you and got the funds and got the investment to actually buy these deals that these investors have got. So I'll give you an example. One bedroom flat in Govan Hill, which I found our landlord investor, bought it for 45k, you know, about, maybe he's had it for 5-6 years or something like that. It's now probably worth about 75, 80. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've lost it. It was me who found that. Yeah. I'm like, fuck.
Took a couple of grand fee. And
do you know what I mean? Probably not even a couple of, I think I maybe took like £1,000, or maybe it was even at the early stages of getting my first lettings. Yeah. I probably just sourced it for free, if I'm honest with you. I was running about finding these deals.
No, but the whole sourcing thing is, I get people want quick cash flow, right? So if you're charging, a sourcer charges someone like £3,000, let's say, they'll say, oh, if I buy to let and you're only making £400 cash flow, how long is it going to take you to make £3,000? But I'm looking at the bigger picture. Yeah. I'm going to hold that for the next 25, 30 years. Who knows, maybe even longer.
Kids might benefit from that.
Yeah. Right, okay, so the biggest stumbling block for people then is that they don't have the money to actually do the deal themselves, right? So this is where you come in, where you've built the portfolio. Sorry, I know you don't want this question, or you don't like this question, but how many units have you got now in your buy-to-let portfolio?
How many units? It's a lot.
You've told me this before. I can't share it on the podcast.
We've got a fair size portfolio. However, it's the cash flow from that portfolio and the value of that portfolio.
Is that the matrix you measure on the portfolio? Because everyone is different for what they measure, don't they?
I could probably double that or times it by 3 and buy, you know, these wee towns and villages that we spoke about there. But look at the value of it. I look at the big city. I want my portfolio there. The cash flow is really strong. You know, I've heard a lot, probably going off a tangent here, you heard a lot about people when the rates came up recently, the bank rates have come up, mortgage rates, and they're saying how are they still making money, ours are now losing money, because they bought in shit areas, because they bought low value dross, where the cash flow, when the rates were really low, was like 190 to 250 at best. Yeah. I wouldn't entertain that. I would never buy something.
I had this conversation with somebody the other day and I says, anybody could have bought fucking property 4 or 5 years ago at 2.5% interest and made a buy-to-let work. I'm in the country. Now we're on normal interest at 6-7%. Now you've got to fucking know what you're doing.
I mean, even now, I won't add anything to the portfolio today unless it's getting up between £400 to £500 cash flow.
It's good cash
flow. On a mortgage. That's on a mortgage.
So is that a 7-figure portfolio then?
Go and narrow it down.
Because we've got to have the clickbait, mate. You've got to give us some figures.
Easily 7 figures.
So this is, you need to have that on your LinkedIn profile, by the way, 7 figures, because that is a common thing. Do you not have that? I'm sure you have that.
Am I there yet? Can I put on entrepreneur yet?
You've got to have the blue tick as well. You not got a blue tick?
Instagram have, aye.
Oh, good, right, okay. Aye. I mean, I think, I used to slag you for that, the blue tick, but I think it is actually probably worth it because these fucking
have to.
fake accounting for it.
I got that quite a lot.
Bitcoin
in the last few years.
Brutal.
People try to rip other folk off, but I do see the value in it now. So apologies for that. I did rip into you for that.
I still think it was a scam. I think it was done by Meta to get everybody to play for the.
Oh, aye. It's an additional scam. It was an additional revenue income generator for what's his name, Mark Zuckerberg. Right. Okay. So sorry, going back.
I was going to go back to this kind of start of that scale of the portfolio because I always find it quite interesting when you your mindset changes and go, fuck, I should be keeping these. Because I think I've done something similar to you. Flip them and you're like, fuck, I should have kept them. And then doubled in value. And
even to this day, we still do flips. I mean, I was in the water park the other day and we sold a flip. You know, I came in for a quick pint out the heat and we checked my phone and that's another one under offer now. So we do still flip. Some people do ask me often, how do you know what to flip and what to keep? It's just the figures in it. You know, if I'm looking at a flip and I know I can make 50k right away from that, you're doing it.
Yeah, cash in.
Sometimes the tenement buildings in Glasgow, they're quite popular. You know, they're good buildings. They've been up for over 100 years. But the value of them, and then if you've got a mortgage on it as well, yes, the rent figure is good. And I spoke to you about the one the other day there. Good rental figure on it. But if that ever becomes vacant at any point, it's a lot of money going out.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So, Stephen, I posted a video on my Instagram there of a new property we've managed to let. So, landlord just bought this cash buyer. Nice 2 beds, fully done up, refurbed in Mount Florida in Glasgow. And Barry's like that on Instagram. We just sold that. That's one of theirs. Oh, right. So they just flipped it. Top end, high quality renovation. But it wouldn't really make sense. So what it's saying is, as a buy to let,
you chuck a mortgage on it
on the, exactly. This couple are, they've only got one property. It's a kind of nest egg for them. I don't think they'll expand to a big portfolio. They've got the cash just to put into something very low risk, where it's like, it's going to hold its value basically.
Yeah, in that area, it's a good location. Close to the city. But in these buildings as well, the flats, you've got all the factor fees. And the older buildings, the maintenance on it.
You chuck a mortgage at 6% plus factor, plus maintenance, plus insurance.
Yeah. That's great for us because it's a good management fee and it's a nice property to manage and it's fully done up. So,
yes, exactly.
And I managed to steal the staging pictures off you as well.
I'll get the fee off you later for that.
But what I was getting back to with the whole kind of people starting out in that about, the main stumbling block is people don't have the money because they think it takes loads of money to invest in property, right? And I used to be guilty about saying, see these taglines, getting involved in property with no money and all that. It's all bullshit, right? But here, I'm speaking to you guys, you've both done it with little or none of your own money, haven't you? So tell us how you managed to do it, Barry.
I started when I left football and into the tiling side of things, bathrooms. I had no capital there to put into a property. So I had to learn how to raise money. Too many people these days, I think they get so zoned in on private investment. And that's not necessarily true. You know yourself, there's so many different ways of raising money. You can loans, credit cards, bridging. There's lenders out there that will lend against the value of the property. So if you're buying at discount, you're pretty much getting it paid for right away. And then the refurb costs of it, okay, if a credit card there, 0%, put it in a credit card.
So those early properties then, those early properties you managed to get, tell us how that works then, because people listening to this that don't have a lot of experience, because remember we reach out to a lot of listeners who are just starting out, they don't have any experience at all. So how can you structure a deal like that if you've got no money?
Right, okay. So people get starting out always think, you need money to get started. I got that as well. People tell me you need money to get started, and for a while you probably believed that. Once you've kind of figured out, okay, there's so many different avenues here, let's explore them. The first ones we did, there's joint ventures you can do. You can go and find that deal, present it to someone and say, do you want to be part of this? I found the deal, these are the numbers, there's all the comparables, the refurb costs, because of my background and that, I knew my refurb costs. And obviously as well, the type of character you are. People knew who I was. I'm not going to randoms at this point, I'm going to people who knew me. They knew I'm kind of trustworthy, respectable. So that's why they wanted to do things with us back then.
So you teamed up, you did a few JVs
to start.
Right, was that some of your old footballer pals that were kind of had a bit of money, or was it people in that circle?
One or two of them, but people as well, friends who know you. You're not going to take a piss out of your friends. Family as well would always look at things, right, okay, can make a few quid there. They would do that. I appreciate some people might not have family who with money. I get that. So look at other avenues. Look at finding a deal So let's say the home report on it was valued at 100k. Can you buy it for 70? Buy it for 75? You'll get lending against the 100.
If you managed to do that?
Yeah. Even the one that we gave to you to let out, that was done. I never put anything into it because we got it so low, below the value. So it's possible. I know a lot of people say, that's bollocks, you can't do that. You can.
Right, give us some case studies then, if you don't mind sharing the numbers on that, even that portfolio. So portfolio is the buzzword at the moment, and everyone's wanting portfolios.
Portfolios.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Do you want to sell one?
It's a silver.
Portfolios, you know yourself, you're buying with tenants.
Yeah.
Sitting tenants who, the reason why the landlord's selling is because the interest rates have come up. They've not increased their rent for like 10 years. So it's now overlapping. He's not making it, he's actually losing money. He wants rid of it. So they're now motivated.
So this was a portfolio predominantly cottage flats in Glasgow, was it?
Yes.
Right.
Aye.
How'd that come to you then?
That came to me because I own one upstairs from this empty one below me. And for a year or two, I never saw any sign of life there at all. I put a letter through the door with my phone number, really just to say, if you're looking to sell, I'd be interested. I own the one above you. Then one day I was across and I saw a few guys sort of taking stuff out. I asked the question, do you know the owner? They said, I can give you his number. So they gave me his number, phoned the guy up, and about a month passed. He never answered the call at the time. A month then passed, and the guy called me. He said, I believe you met my son. It's actually his son that was clearing the flat out. So I spoke to this guy on the phone, and he said, I've sold 4. I've got another 16 left that I'm wanting to offload. I said, right, okay. What, are you putting them on the market? Or he said, I'd rather just exactly. I'd rather just sell them to one person. So that's when we started talking figures, what you're looking for.
I think that motivation helped as well, because I've spoke to a few people that like they're not going to sell it to you on a big discount, and then you go, okay, come back to me, and they start offloading 1 or 2 at a time. They realise how slow it is and painful. Fucking going through conveyancing, the solicitors and marketing or clearing it out.
Yeah.
You find that his motivation was high because he'd already tried to sell for, he'd already sold.
Do you think he had considered other options then?
He did tell me at the time whether it's true or not. He could just sell them off one by one. He's not desperately needing it, but then he contradicted himself by saying he needs money for other projects. So you know he's kind of slipped up a wee bit there.
How did that negotiation pan out then? Like in terms of, was it a hard one?
Yeah, we worked it out. I know what I paid for the one upstairs, right? And I know what I just recently got it valued at upstairs.
Can you give us some figures?
Aye.
Yeah.
So the one up the stairs, I'd bought that for 100. I did 0 refurb in it, and a couple of months later, I got it revalued at 135, right? And it rents out at 995.
So decent stock.
Yeah. So I knew that. However, these ones that I got entry to the one down the stairs now because the boys were moving stuff out. So, you know, I'm right in there. Give me a look while you're clearing it out. So I could see what was required. You know, bathroom, kitchen, freshen up, flooring throughout. Nothing major. And I say to the guy, right, if I'm buying 16 from you then, what are you looking for? And he said, let me come back to you. So he came back a few days later and he told me the price of them.
Which was what?
He was looking for 90 per flat.
90 per flat?
Times 16.
And current market value, you're thinking, right, he's wanting 90 in the condition that they were in.
Yeah.
Probably that's about what, that would have been about the value, is it not?
You know yourself, when you buy a portfolio, you don't get access to all of them. You don't.
Aye.
Very, very rarely.
You just take it on.
Yeah, I'm taking it on because I know the area inside out.
They're all needing what this one's needing.
Yeah. So this is where my experience comes in now.
Aye.
I wouldn't recommend this to someone starting out.
Yeah.
Because I've got the one upstairs. I know what I purchased it for. I know it's the same floor layout, same floor space. I know the rental figure. I know what, if I did a little bit of freshen up, if I wanted to, I know that figure. So we negotiated to and fro a little bit, and we agreed, right, I'll buy them as seen. Sold as seen, really.
So what do you get? What does it work out roughly per flat then? Or how are you gonna, what's the best way of explaining this to people then? Just break it down per flat or the total portfolio?
Yep, so what we did was we just agreed to pay, right, I'll give you this figure here for each flat. regardless of the condition. Right. So I'm buying blind, apart from one. Most of them were tenanted. The rent hadn't been increased for the best part of 10 years. So the rent that they were paying was actually half of what it should be.
You're like £450, £500 or something like that.
Yeah, just across the board.
And at the moment you're getting, for these cottage flats, you're getting like £850, £900.
Yeah. Well, the one upstairs from it, I was getting £995, but that was like a couple of years ago. It's a bit more buoyant. Now they're going out for £895 to £950.
Yeah, so what was the figure you settled on again, sorry?
I didn't actually say, but I'll tell you.
So I'm just trying to work this out in my head. And
I don't mind telling you, I don't mind. Right? So the figure that we paid for each flat was 83.5.
Brilliant.
Right, times that by 16.
And you reckon that, I mean, you've already had some end valuation, you've already had the surveyor out for some of them and they're revaluing it.
Yeah, so bought them for 83.5. Obviously, we bought them on a bridge.
Yeah.
So
how did it stack up with the bridge with the low rents? Was it okay? Did it service up?
It was fine.
Was that
yeah, no problem. We got the lending against the value because you know the bridging company or the bridging bank, they'll send out their own valuer because they're not get a home report.
Yep.
Any of these properties you're buying off market, there's no home report, so they send out their own valuer.
This is the risk that people don't see as well. I'm assuming you had to pay what $6-7 grand up front on valuations that you would have lost if the guy pulled out the deal.
Yeah.
Aye, so we're going back to the get involved in property with no money, but you need to put out some cost.
This is an experienced deal.
Sorry, Steve, that's a lie. The valuations were free on this.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What lender was that? Lendinvest or something? What lender was it?
That one was Lendinvest.
Aye.
You see the business they're going to get on the back of this.
Free valuations, I know. Referral fees to Barry John Corr.
Yeah.
Aye, so again, how do you do that? So there's no money for the valuations.
Yeah.
Are they not wanting a deposit? So you're saying that bridging company are lending on the...
They lent 75% against the value of which they valued them at.
So what did they come back valuation?
They valued 16 times 106. Right.
Nice.
I've paid 83.5.
So it all came almost.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So there's a little bit of a shortfall. All right. But I pride myself on never putting a pound into a deal.
Yeah.
That is what I still pride myself on. So we then looked at the portfolio and, okay, what equity's in there? This is what I'm saying. Someone starting out couldn't do this.
Right, okay, so you had leverage from other properties.
So we then leveraged the portfolio to cover the deposit funds.
Which is roughly, how much did you have to raise from that?
Oh, would have been a huge amount, wouldn't
no,
it?
No, it wasn't
much at all.
It wasn't, but I wanted enough to cover the refurb as well.
Okay.
So I'm sure it's about 200
right.
we got to cover that.
Because how many of the units are you refurbing them all or not?
No.
Is the cash is sitting there for when they become vacant, refurb them and get them back out?
Yeah. We did it in two bulks here. Okay, so we did 8 and 8.
Right.
I didn't just go 16 right away.
Yeah.
Took it 8 and 8. So the plan was to take the first 8, do what we need to do, put them onto a mortgage, all the funds back out, go for the next 8. Probably too honest here with you now. But I've started, so we may as well keep going.
Your balls deep now, mate.
Yeah, we'll just keep going with it. So the first 8, that's what we did. We got it valued against the 106, 75%. The money that we needed to top it up, we leveraged the portfolio to cover the deposit funds on that as well. So again, I've not put a pound in myself. All right. I've not went to any private investor. Okay, because we got leverage from the bridge and the portfolio. So of those 8, we did up 4 of them. And the other 4 were tenanted in that. So 4 were empty, 4 were tenanted.
Were you surprised when in the condition of them when you actually got access? Like, were some of them better than you thought?
The guy that I bought from, bear in mind I bought them blind,
yeah.
Right? Apart from one. He told me they're in great condition. He also told me the tenants are brilliant. Right? And one of the tenants was the one we spoke about earlier, had an issue with me playing for Celtic. Right? So we then got them all revalued about 6-7 weeks later. And 4 of them came in at 135.
Nice.
3 of them came in, 4 and 4 it was. 4 came in at 135, 4 came in at 140.
Wow.
And you know, 4 of them, I didn't even do a thing.
What, so they were actually already in really good condition? Like they'd already been...
Decent enough. But then the surveyor turns up to value them all.
There's a winner.
surveyor turns up to value them all for the mortgage now, and I always go there.
Yeah.
I like to be there to meet Mr. Surveyor, just to make sure that he lands in the right place.
Yeah.
The value that we're looking for.
Do you find that?
Hang on. I'm getting into this story. Wait. He's met the surveyor.
Yeah. So we've met the surveyor, as I always do. I never ever let the surveyor go to a property and get the keys off of whoever. I'm there myself personally, just to kind of, this is where we're wanting to be at, without intimidating them too much. I know that doesn't sound right, but after the first 3 or 4, you can see, I took him to the first 4, which were
You're refurbed.
Yeah. Right? And you get the pick, like, okay, they're all the same.
Aye.
Even one of them, I probably shouldn't say that. There was one of them that he didn't actually have to go into.
Yeah.
But he knew what was going on.
Yeah.
He knew the spec of the refurb. So it's pretty much right, okay, they're all valued at this, 135 and 140, which allowed me to pull out all the money, pay off the bridge and pay back the
security.
So just for those listeners, just those listeners who, this is the power of it. Because just for those listeners who are following that story, if you look at that, if Barry John's getting an end valuation of 135 and then you're refinancing with a standard lender at 75%, he's managing to get 101, right around about 100 grand.
$1 grand, yeah.
Back out, and he's only paid 82 initially for each unit. So that's the power of it. Possibly he's put in a refurb on some.
The refurb wasn't huge. I mean, you saw the one that you were in yourself,
Aye.
Nick. It wasn't right back to the brick.
Aye.
Right? Yes,
Very cosmetic.
It's a buy-to-let refurb, which is totally different from a flip refurb.
So you pretty much got a free asset there.
16 of them.
Nice deal.
Yeah.
Nice deal.
Really good.
Now, the only trouble is that if you're then refinancing at that maxing out on the value, you're kind of leveraging quite a bit there in terms, you're exposing yourself in terms of, if the price starts to drop or if we have, but that's the risk.
It's holding long term and they're all refurbed.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the 75% mortgages against 135, it's about 101.
What are you doing figures in terms of cash flow? What would be for people listening to this, what could they expect to cash flow?
The cash flow on this is
profit,
like per unit. They're renting out, take 895, the mortgage on it, I think it's about 460. So you're still, it's within that bracket that I like to target for cash flow.
Yeah.
I'm holding it right away. I've got 35 grand equity per unit times
16.
Well, even if you're getting 200, even if you're like worst case scenario getting 250, by the size of it, maybe even 300 a month, for not putting any money in and getting all your money back out. If you put any money in, then
that's another thing you hear as well. There's no such thing as all money out deals.
Yeah.
Keep believing it, because I've just done it.
Yeah. And this is obviously typical. If you guys are researching strategies, obviously this is the typical BRRR strategy, but it sounds like some of them without one of the R's there as well, but which is it's unbelievable to hear, because a lot of people are like, I've had it sometimes where you've really got to justify to the lender what you've done at the property to increase that value, because a lot bit it's worked for you. So fair enough.
I know some guys turn up with a pack, don't they? Some investors.
Aye.
And hand a pack over to the surveyor.
I've
never did that. Yeah. I've never done
that. That whole pack thing must have come about off some course or something like that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Somebody's came from someone that doesn't do fucking property, that's for sure. There's no way.
The last pack that I gave to a surveyor, he threw it back in my face and said, "That's a waste of paper."
Yeah. Aye. Fuck. Yeah. I bet you were downvalued as well. I would have downvalued you.
Yeah. See, the thing with surveyors, you build relationships over the years. Most of the surveyors know me now, because I always turn up to everyone.
This is what I was going to interrupt you and say to you, because I don't hear that very often, and I do the same. And people, you kind of look at you like, well, your business not big enough that you can outsource that. No, that's the most important part of my fucking business. Turn up to see a surveyor at Edinburgh property. I'll drive to Aberdeen to do one valuation, two valuations. Why not?
I would do the same, mate.
Because that's, like you say, it's the person that you're meeting that's going to dictate what valuation you get on your property.
Do you find that you see the same surveyors as well? Because obviously in Aberdeen's quite a small market, so have you got to know quite a few of them now?
There's only four surveyors in Aberdeen,
right?
Maybe the same. So, and when you go to Lend Invest or Paragon, they're going to select DM Hall, or Harvey Donaldson Gibson. Well, you're going to get one or two of them for there. So after a few trips, you've met them all.
Do you turn up with the donuts as well? Give the guy a coffee and a donut?
Depends on a diet or not.
But surveyors, they're a vital part of your business.
Yeah. The thing is, you need to respect that that's somebody's job as well. So if you're turning up there with a pack and going, look, this is what you should value it to, Mr. Surveyor, then they're going to be like, who are you? Fucking tell me how to do my job.
Do my job,
know
exactly.
What I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, see, just going back to the one that I did own before the portfolio, the one upstairs that I bought for 100, and I was wanting 135. So we actually went to a lender, and they all send out their own independent surveyor. This surveyor turned up, looked at it and says, it's worth 100. I says, no, it's not. I said, look, I've got the comparables here, look, that street there.
You did challenge him then?
Aye. But you know yourself, you challenge them.
Gets a back up,
the lender just go, no, they're our chosen expert in the area. And I said, expert? I said, she's not a clue. So you can challenge it, but you're never, very rarely going to change them, right? Yeah. So if that ever happens, just go to a different lender. Yeah. Next lender came out, once again, I've met this guy, came out, he said, what is you looking for? And I told him 135. You're well comfortable, you can go higher if you want. I said, no, keep it at 135, we're okay there. Job done.
That's a nice conversation to have.
Yeah.
That happens regularly. Talk about that, the flip valuations as well, because like obviously you did a flip there and you're getting told a figure and you're like, nah. So so this is where experience comes in as well. Yeah. So on my recent flip we did as well, at the beginning we were using bridge and finance again. Tenement south side of Glasgow. Tenement south side of Glasgow, yeah. And I was buying from another landlord. The value of it at the time was 130. This is when you know 130, and we ended up buying it for 115. But again, the bridging, the home report was done by DM Hall at 130, literally a month before. Then the bridging company sent out their own valuation, or their own surveyor. Sorry, he comes out and he said, the end value of it's probably about 130. Or 140 at a push. And I said, what? No, it's not. I said, this is getting over 200 easy. Yeah. And he says, nah, no chance. So again, I'm rhyming off because I know.
The streets are done your due diligence.
I'm telling him that one there, this one there, around the corner, everything else. I told him we actually sold one across the other side of the road for 185, literally 3 years ago. And it's a bigger flat. So he says, nah, they're wrong. And I says, come on. What is actually in this for you here? Why are you doing this? Yeah. So anyway, I then ended up finding out from the guy that brought it to me. He told me that the surveyor went back in, hand back in the keys after valuing it. The guy who handed the keys back to, he says, why are you valuing it so low? What's going on? This is for the end value now. He's valuing it because I always get lending against
the back end.
So he said, that guy's all right. He's got loads of flats across Glasgow. And I'm like, what? What's that got to do with anything? Whether I've got loads of flats or I've got nothing. You value this as it's case by case. So it was nice at the back end of this.
What did you make out of that flip?
We made profit. Well, we bought it for I don't mind. We bought it for 115. Add in your stamp duty, your legals, your holding costs, your refurb. Refurb on that was about 17. We sold it for 210.
It's good.
So all in, we made about 60k from that one.
It's a good flip.
Nice. Does that go just back into building the portfolio as well? Have you got other ambitions in the pipeline for other things in property, or where do you see yourself going now?
I've got loads of offers on things just now that I'm hoping to conclude this week or get them under offer this week.
And is that, again, are you continuing on building the buy-to-let portfolio? Because this is interesting, because like I just think that's great, because you're obviously seeing the value in the buy-to-let, and you've got, we've talked before about you want to move to like Dubai and all the rest of it. That's great to hear, because with too many people we get coming in that they just have given up on buy-to-let, or
they're going for SA now because it's a new.
No, they're just chasing the shiny penny.
Of course, that's what happens, and that's social media is a big part of that as well. As good as social media has been great for us in terms of leveraging the business,
it can be the brand and attracting deals, and
it can be dangerous as well, because people jump into something
Your surveyor.
Yeah.
He's got loads of fucking flats on Instagram.
Yeah. And also, it can backfire.
He drives a Range Rover. He's all right.
130.
Yeah. But I see people try to do property for 2 or 3 months. They don't do anything before they know that into something else.
Yeah.
And there's something else. Whereas we just totally stayed in that lane and just went after it. So aggressive.
Have you got a target or a portfolio value, a portfolio cash? So you got something where you go, right, we'll get to there and that'll be us, or you just love
probably
the process?
No, because we hold so much funds there.
Yeah,
we've raised a lot of money over the years.
Keep it going.
Yeah,
there's a reason why Lloyd's. There's a reason why Lloyd's Banking Group, John Lewis, Blackstone, all these big investment companies are investing in buy-to-let property, because it works and it's always worked, and there's a shortage.
It's been about for hundreds of years.
So I like to hear that as a letting agent. I like it even more. Hopefully, when you move to Dubai, I'll get your portfolio to manage as well.
That was my next question. Do you have an agent, say, or do you manage it in house? Or
we manage it on a daily basis ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Every single property we've got, I've got a WhatsApp group with Leanne and I and the tenants. So if there's any issue, it's a quick video or a photograph, and it'll be responsive very quickly.
You can just ping that forward that straight onto a contractor to go.
I mean, that's even, I know I was talking before there, when I was away there, every day I'm still a couple of WhatsApps back and forward. Some people might think, oh, you're on holiday, switch off, chill out. But that's fine, chill out if you want. But if you want to make the money that I'm making, you need to put the time in.
Yeah, I like that attitude as well.
Do you see it as work?
No.
I don't see it as work. You see it?
It takes me 5
minutes.
Aye.
Especially when you're on your phone in a shaded area in Dubai, ripping a beer and then going to go and jump in the pool, and you reply to a couple of WhatsApps. It's not fucking work. It's give you the freedom to enjoy that life.
Well, that's not happening when you've got 4 lanes. Mind you, you're fortunate now that most of yours are kind of grown up now and self-sufficient, but you've got the wee one as well. It's come along.
That's it. We've got a 20-year-old, 17, 15, and 2.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I had to laugh there. Yesterday I was watching your Instagram, and what's the wee one's name? Charlie was doing their dancing. That was hilarious, man.
I was just in a shop in the mall.
She was bright. Some move she's got, isn't she?
That's it.
Is that taking after you or Leanne?
Certainly not me.
Brilliant. So social media, just to finish us off, obviously you're active on that. You know, what's your kind of, you know, you pump out the content quite frequently. What's the reason behind that? Just keep yourself on
It's a free marketing platform. I've never took out sponsored ads or anything like that. I use Instagram, LinkedIn, now and again use Facebook, but it lets people see what we're doing. You know, there's a lot of people out there with money, right? And a lot of people out there also inherit a property they don't want. So who are they going to go to? The guy who's doing things consistently. I appreciate there's a lot of people trying to do what we're doing as well. I get that. But I think a lot of folks see the consistency that we do. See how type of character we are, just down to earth, consistent, driven, hard working, and that's what attracts so much private investment.
And you obviously do that. You raise private investor funds to do stuff as well, to do projects as well.
The fund that we've got is 7 figure.
7 figures, yeah.
That's a buzzword. No, but honestly, it is. I couldn't possibly put a total figure that I've raised over all the years, but it is millions. Millions. Why do people want to come to us? Why don't they just do it themselves? I hear that all the time. But you know yourself that somebody might have the funds there, they don't know where to put them, they don't know what area to buy in, what the refurb's going to cost, the end value, how to get the money back out. If the tenant pays you, the voids, the maintenance, we take all that pain away.
I remember,
and we just give them a guaranteed, there you go, return constantly.
I remember a few, maybe 5-6 years ago when you were started on Instagram in particular, I think it was putting the stuff out there, and you always try and go on social media and I better put the fucking nice, pretty stuff out there and show it's nice and showcase what I'm doing. And then you, like you say, you'd meet with people that are like, oh, I've got a couple of grand and I'm trying to get any property, what would they do? And they're almost want to pick your brains for the knowledge. And then I remember I started posting up like the shit, and I think this is what gave me that real motivation to just post the shit. I remember, I think one of the tenants set fire to the flat, and I just fucking went through a walkthrough, put on, this is shit got to deal on a daily basis, it's part of the business, we'll let him grow. And that same guy reached back at him and was like, Ken, what, there's my 200 grand, you take it. And I thought, there's probably a good way of being authentic and honest on social media, showing that it's not that easy, it's hard, because it's fucking requires skill set, knowledge, determination, all the things that you mentioned to get them to do it. And folk might just go, do you know what, you fucking take the money and do it for me.
A lot of folks who are trying to raise money, they think it's going to happen like that. and it doesn't. You know, the first few properties we ever did was like joint ventures and raising funds from other avenues, what I touched on earlier. But then once they see that, they say, I'm going to start watching him. It might be like a year, 2 years, maybe even 5 years later. Then they reach out to you. They've never liked anything, never commented anything.
But they're there.
And they're there. They say, I'm ready to invest now.
Yeah. So go and follow, guys. Go and follow Barry John on Instagram. I think it's probably the best where you put up most of your content. You'll find it dead useful, just seeing what he's up to day to day. Thanks very much for being so honest and authentic and sharing numbers and stuff. Hope it doesn't get you into too much bother with Leanne. She'll be like, but no, I appreciate it. And I think everyone will find this podcast really useful. So thanks for your time.
Good stuff, guys.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Cheers.